Okay, so we'll head back to the dashboard. And whenever you're on a stage page, your navigation is right there. You can head back to your dashboard right there. So we went through the business stages. Next is going to be gather your information. And so, like I mentioned, these sections down here below the divider correlate with over to the right side. So you have gather your information, do the work, capture ideas and info, work with your team, make it yours. And you're going to see all the different sections that are under that. But before we get to that, we're going to go over the Action Center. The Action Center is basically where you can take quick actions at. So let's say you want to add a new note. Let's say you have a screenshot or you have an idea. A customer just gave you a review, anything you want to add. If you click Add New Note, it will automatically enter the date for today, the same day that you just clicked the button. If you want to upload a file, you would click here, choose a file, and you can upload it. This is optional, but it's just there available. If you want to categorize the note to one of your journeys, that's where you would click here. I would recommend categorizing almost everything you can to a journey so that way they can show up on your journey page. So let's say you're thinking about something that has to do with your brand. You would categorize it under brand presence. Or if it had something to do with taxes, you would put that under compliance. Or if you needed a form that you needed created, you would put that under document design. And so when you get to learn a little bit more about the journey, you'll get a better understanding of where everything goes, because your journey basically breaks down the back end of your business and helps you kind of divide categories and keep you on track and help elevate your operations overall. So you definitely want to get familiar with that. Here you can choose what the note type is, whether it's admin, brainstorming, branding, client feedback, so on and so forth. If there's not an option, you can just choose other. And then once you have people into your team assignment, which we'll talk about that a little bit later, you can then choose if you want to add someone to this note. So let's say you were brainstorming a note about something you wanted to do with some of your staff members. You could then link what staff members you were talking about or who you want that note to go to. If you have a URL that you want to add to the note, you can put it there. If you have a note that you want to put on the note, that's an option as well. If this note goes along with a project, you can link it to a project, you can link it to a task, or you can link it to one of your goals. So that's there. And then we have a quick add. This is if you want to quickly add something to your calendar, or if you want to quickly add a new task, a goal, a new file, or a new resource. You would just click on this. So for example, add a new calendar. This will automatically populate. You'll just delete that information and then you'll just add. So let's say you have a company party that's coming up. You can add company party. You can choose a date. You can add a priority. If it's medium priority, we'll go ahead and add that. Let's say this company party is about brand, getting the brand out there. So we'll go ahead and tag it with branding. There's definitely more details that you can add. You can choose a calendar type. This would be an event. You can add the quarter. This is a first quarter, second quarter, third, fourth quarter event. Choose who you want to assign it to. Determine whether it's recurring or not. Add a location, add a note. Now, these are definitely optional, but these are just different things to help you categorize things and add more detail to anything that you're adding to your system. Link systems, these are going to be other databases within Notion, within your elevated HQ workspace that you can tag to this particular calendar. So your business profile, if there was something that you wanted to add or tag, you could choose that. If you wanted to add a file, you wanted to add a URL, you wanted to add a system, you can do that. Once again, you can tag it to your projects or your tasks. And then quick links. These are going to be things that you actually have to mark quick link. So in the database, you're going to see that there's a section titled quick link. Once you mark it, it will show up in these given sections. You actually also have the ability to favorite a quick link. So you can add it to your quick links and you can determine it to be a favorite. That will push it to the very top of the links. So you'll have some that'll be at the bottom. Those are going to be the ones that are not marked favorite. So if you want it to be at the top, you'll just want to mark that favorite, and we'll show you that a little bit later. Here's all of your business profile information. And once you import things into the system, it'll start showing up over here. So just to give an example, legal business name. Let's say we're going to put this into text because that's what our instructions say. And if you have any questions on where you should enter information, that's where you'll come down here to set up instructions. But let's say the legal business name is Murray's Lawn Care. We go back to our dashboard. You're not going to see that the business name is showing up here, Murray's Lawn Care. And if you have a DBA name, you could go ahead and enter that in. Let's say you don't have a DBA name and you want to go ahead and delete this because it's cluttering your workspace. You could come up here to the three dots and simply go down here to move to trash. And it's going to move it to the trash can, and it'll no longer show up on your business profile across any of your stage pages. So there's that. Let's say also you want to put your business start date in there. You could choose that your business started on August the 1st. So now when we go back to our dashboard, we'll see here our start date, our anniversary date is August the 1st. And so that's kind of how you'll be able to do that. And that's it for the business profile. So going on to systems and tools, these are going to be online systems or online tools that you use. So let's say you use Canva. You would be able to save that here. You can add, let's go ahead and add it. We'll go ahead and add that as design, a new page. We'll type in Canva. We want this to be a favorite. So we're going to go ahead and star that. And we're going to say that the date added is today because we just added that today. Canva, obviously you would be creating things for your brand. We will put that under brand presence. This tool type is design. So let's say you have a username at user.com. You can put the Canva URL here. So whatever is the login page URL, you can go ahead and add that here. And here, this box is where you're going to check quick links. So once you click quick links and you have it favorite, what's going to happen is now that when we go back to our quick links section, it's going to show up here. Now we have Canva. We know that it's for design and it's starred. But let's say we don't want it to be starred. Let's go back and add an email. We're going to call this Gmail because let's say we use Gmail. We added it today. Your Gmail would be a part of your email, would be a part of admin. So let me go ahead and change that because that would not be a part of brand presence, but instead a part of admin. There we go. Oh goodness, I'm just clicking too much. Okay, and so now we can add our username or our email. And so let's say our email is lawncare@murrays.com because we just added that a little bit earlier. So now we can add that. And then the login account or the URL to get to our Gmail, we can go ahead and add that so we can quickly get to it. So now we're going to check quick links, but we're not going to add it to our favorites up here with a star. But we're going to go back and now we're going to see that it's in here. We have it under our systems, our Gmail, but it doesn't have a star. So when we start adding other things that have stars, they're going to go to the top. Gmail will be pushed to the bottom. Okay. So moving on to gather our information. Like we talked about our business profile. We talked about our systems. Now we're going to talk about our workflows and automation. In here, they're going to be something called templates. These are going to be a pre-existing page with information already on there, structured for you to put in. So you have a template for workflow, automation, routine, and checklist. When you add a page and you click this particular template, it's going to add that content. So we're going to add a workflow. So whenever you add a workflow, you're going to add a full description, team assignment. Now here it says use the team assignment field above to see who's responsible for this team. So we're going to go up. And when we go under details, that's where we're going to see team assignment. And once we start adding people to our team, they will show up here and we will be able to select them. Now we have our workflow steps. We can list that out. We can trigger what event or condition started this workflow. We can add our results and our outcomes and our systems and our tools. Now, it also says use the systems and tools relation field above to connect any tools. So we'll go back above, link systems, and we can connect our tools. But we can also connect this workflow to resources, or if we have a file associated with the workflow, if we have like a website or URL that's associated with the workflow, any files, if we want to add it to the calendar, that can be added as well. And then we have automation. Automation is going to be the same thing, only this time it's going to give you it's going to ask for your automation steps and different things of that nature. This is specific to automation. So there's that. You also have the same things to link it to. Then you have routine tasks. These are any tasks that you do consistently on an ongoing basis. And with that, when you're up here at the top, this is where you're going to want to click the frequency. This is routine. How routine is it? Do you do it one time, on demand, as needed? And there's all these different options that you can choose from. So going back out, the last one is a checklist. You can create a checklist as well, which you can assign the same information. And you have your template structured and set up right here. Okay. Now you have your calendar. You have different ways of viewing your calendar. You can view it like this, just your regular standard calendar, which our company party that we added earlier is listed right here. We have calendar by type. We have our meetings that will be right here, which this should not be under meetings, so we'll have to get that fixed. And then we have calendar by stage. Since we only have one thing in here and it was under brand presence, that's the only thing that's showing. And then we have calendar details. This will be the database or the Excel version, spreadsheet version of looking at your database. So there's that. Next, you have projects. Here is where you can see all your projects. You'll be able to see projects by phases. The phases are going to be planning, development, execution, review, ideation, and on hold, as well as anything that you archive. Projects by stage, which is the elevated business journey stages. This will be your project calendar, so you'll be able to see things on a calendar view. And then, of course, you'll have your project details. Here are your tasks. You'll have a task manager where you'll be able to see your in-progress task, your not started task, your completed task, and any task that you've canceled. You'll also be able to see tasks by project. Whenever you go to add a project, you can add multiple tasks underneath it, and they will automatically show up here, and then you'll be able to see them by project. This is your task timeline. All tasks will be on this timeline, and they'll be linked by project. You'll be able to see it by stage, as well as the details. Then you have your goals. You can have your goals written out for quarters. So you got quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 by status. There, you'll also have your goals organized by stage. You'll have a goal calendar. And then, of course, your goal details. So next, we'll move on to the section titled Capture Ideas and Info. This is notes and uploads, which we went over this a little bit earlier under the quick adds. So I won't go over that too much more, but the note that we added earlier, we didn't title it, but it is right here. And we can see that we added it for August the 5th. So if we wanted to open that, we'll just click that. And then anything that we added, we'll be able to see the details. And this is where you can choose, there's templates. You have a note, an upload template, and then you have a project note. So those are two different types of notes. You also have your file vault. Your file vault is all the different types of files that you could upload. They're all broken down into categories: financial, invoice, legal, marketing. You can also add on additional categories, which we'll show that later. You can see your files by stage as well as your file details. And now we also have a resource hub. Resource hub is going to be anything that you want to save. Maybe it's an article that you love, a website that you like to get good information from, just anything that you consider to be a resource, we can go ahead and add it here. And it'll be categorized by article, downloads, events, funding, legal, marketing, so on and so forth. Your resources will be broken down by stage, and of course, you'll be able to see your resources by detail. The next section is work with your team. Here's where you want to add any member of your team. I've already added myself because I am a business operations consultant. So the thing about the elevated business journey is it's designed for you to identify where you're at, elevate from there. So what that means is if you're in the system and you're uploading information, and you realize that you need assistance developing that specific back-end part of your business, that's what elevated operations can come in handy at. So if you need a document designed, if you need a policy or procedure created, you need an employee handbook, you need a logo, you need your email cleaned up, anything that you need for the back end of your business as you're uploading your information into the Elevated HQ, Elevated Operations is here to assist you. And then here is where you'll see all of your team details. Next, we'll go down to making this yours. So, of course, the Elevated HQ is structured into the 5 stages, and that's supposed to assist you with keeping your backend organized and structured. But you can customize this HQ to make it yours. You can add on, you can make it bigger. This section is primarily for the solopreneur or the CEO or the executive director. It's for one person, essentially. But this entire HQ could be for your entire team. We can grow it. We can make it exactly the way you want. And that's what the HQ add-ons are designed for. They're to give you an idea of different ways to enhance this HQ. You could get familiar with Notion and you could build out additional databases and connect things all together yourself. Or Elevated Operations is here to help build it out as well. And so as you're going to see, there's different add-ons divided into different categories. We'll go ahead and click on clients and customers, and you'll see we'll have a client intake form. We can have a client portal, a follow-up log, a CRM database, a lead tracker. And these are things I can design custom to your business. Every business is different. Every business wants to collect different sets of data. They have different questions, different ways about going through their workflow. And I can work with you so that way we can customize these to make sure that it matches your company, your business needs. Your client intake form could be built directly into Notion. Your clients could access it publicly. They can fill it out, and it could be imported and automatically set up to go into a database that we designed directly for your clients. So that's an option there. If you have content that you create, we can build an audience growth tracker database, a social media planning calendar. We could do a testimonial tracker, a support ticket log, frequently asked questions response template. For your finances, we have a couple of different options. We could do a refund tracker, invoice log, receipt tracker, monthly budget dashboard, and so on and so forth. There's so many different options. And even if you don't see something listed here, if it's something that your business needs, we can get this incorporated into your HQ. And so that is an overview of what the dashboard looks like. And so from here, we'll go into the HQ a little bit further and learn a little bit more on how to use the system.